Do you ever wonder about if happiness is a choice? If it's family patterns, if it's your own patterns, if it's a habit, if it's a mindset, if it's something that we can decide about, or something that we just kind of, it either happens or it doesn't? Is it something that comes from our personalities or backgrounds, or what is it? Which one is it? Because this is what I observed. And this is difficult actually. I'm visiting my family right now, and there is this one person who I love and very important to me, and she's really, really unhappy. And this is not new. She's been extremely unhappy for a very long time, and she talks about it. And I listen, and the people around her listen because we love her. And she complains a lot, like a lot. And there is an amount that I can take before I start to give advice, or even just like, okay, but like, couldn't you do this or that, or talk with that person, or just change something? And she's like, yeah. Sometimes, and sometimes she goes on the defense and like, oh, no, blah blah. Yeah, I'm sorry, but this is actually really a difficult subject, because she, in my views, she could choose to focus on the positive instead of the negative, and she could make some changes. Like, she could just stand up and say, okay, enough is enough. Like, I'm not somebody you can just steamroller over. Like, I can choose myself, and I'm perfectly allowed to be happy, and nothing is really wrong. But if I make these few changes, and I'm not saying these are the most easy changes, but they are certainly possible. They are in the realm of possibilities to change. And I'm talking about the years of not changing these certain things. But she keeps talking about this every day or every time we meet, and complains about the same stuff. And at some point I'm like, do you actually want to change? Do you actually want to get better or feel better? Do you want to feel more aligned in your own life? Or do you just want to keep doing this? Because if you really want to change, if you want to feel better, if you want to be happier, if you want to learn how to focus more on the positive things, how to be grateful for all those absolutely numerous things that she has in her life, then I'm here for you. I will help. I'll do my best to be there, and not even give advice, because I think oftentimes advice, it's a tricky thing. Like, sometimes if somebody actually asks for advice, that's different. But if somebody doesn't, to give unsolicited advice, it's not, I'm not convinced that that's really the greatest thing ever. But if she just wants to keep complaining, then I can say, okay, I'm sorry, I've been listening to this for years. You're actually not making any changes. I am really sorry, but this is on you. Like, you can't just take my time and energy, use it up, grind it up, so I don't have it. I can't use my own energy if you take it. I can't make progress because I want to make progress. You just take it and don't do anything with it. Like, can I say that? Because I try to say it sometimes, and sometimes I just listen, and then I like change the subject, or try to make her laugh, or just kind of exit the situation, because that is not my responsibility. And for me to even to get to this point where I realize that it's not my responsibility, somebody else's happiness, I am only responsible for my own happiness, then I can kind of exit-ish the situation. But it's still, I still, every time I meet this person, I watch her, how unhappy she is. This is not my responsibility. Like, she can make different choices. She can decide to, do journaling, write a gratitude journal, and just to start to focus on other things, or just sometimes tell somebody to, I'm sorry, F off, and set some boundaries, draw the line, choose herself. It's really sometimes difficult to watch in these situations. I don't know. It's a tricky, kind of swampy area for me. But on the other hand, maybe this person needs to experience unhappiness, but it's really difficult to watch because I love this person. So, like, what am I supposed to do? I don't just want to keep throwing away my energy and attention that I cannot do anything else because it absolutely drains me. and she just doesn't do anything with it. The strange thing is that she actually has a licensed therapist that she goes to, and this therapist told her a few times and said to her that, look, if you don't make changes, I can't keep helping you. Then don't come to me for help. Don't take my time and also energy, and don't give me your money, because I cannot help you if you don't help yourself first. And then there's like a little tiny changes, like let's say communication or well, mainly that. But nothing else happens. But then this person just goes to this therapist and keeps taking so much money, and just to talk, just to be listened to how she's complaining and not changing anything. And it's really, really a tough subject. And that, of course, also makes me think about my own choices, because for whatever reason, I don't know why this is, but in my family, it's not really a habit to be happy or to approach things in a way that happiness or joyfulness or gratitude are on top of the hierarchy. Like, it's just not in the patterns. I have no idea why. Like, as far as I can see back on it's not my family tree because that's too big, but like my grandparents, my great-grandparents, it wasn't really a thing to be happy. It's like you put your head down, you grind, you kind of survive, you kind of take 2 weeks off for vacation a year, and then, you know, you kind of just, I don't want to say suffer through, because that's really, really sad and really strong, but there is this element of just focusing on the difficulties. And there's so many things to be grateful for. And I actually never realized this until I left my home about like a million years ago. I just obviously grew up in this. I thought this was the normal. And then I went abroad. I spent a year in England. I was working with disabled people in a Camp Hill community. And that was in my early 20s. And then I went there, and the first time in my life I was like, whoa, these people are happy. And it's not like they had it easier. Actually, some of them really didn't have it easier. But they focused on a different thing, or different things. They focused on the positive. They focused on optimism, or the things they could focus on that brought them joy, or sometimes really small things. Like, maybe I'll make a separate video about all the things I learned from disabled people. They were so focusing on small things. Sometimes a bag of chips or crisps, as they call them, or a tea, or just a new gossip magazine came out that they really, really loved, and they were so happy. Or just sitting down and eating a little cake with their friends, or just the sun shining in England. I was like, wow, it's like the best day ever, and they were generally happy. And also the house parents I was staying with, the Croatian family, the Croatians, so not so far geographically from Hungarians, they were much more positive and optimistic. And it's not like they didn't have problems or issues or like great difficulties. They did, like everybody. It's not what they were just constantly munching on and chewing on and being upset about it. They were like, yeah, okay, but what can we be happy about today? Okay, we want to achieve this or that or the other thing. And we are really happy if something worked out, or if we had a good conversation, or somebody brought us a delicious cookie, or we just had a nice laugh together. And it's like, it's a completely different mindset. And when I first went there, I was like, what? I don't know, what the heck? What's going on? I don't understand why these people are happy. I'm not joking. Like, it was like a shock. Like, it was completely strange. Even the way they use language. When you ask somebody how they were doing in Hungary, if somebody asks you how you were doing, usually the kind of the socially accepted cultural norm is to start to complain about stuff. And in England, they just said, I'm fine. Even if they weren't fine, okay, that's a whole different question. Should you say you're fine if you're not fine? I guess it depends on who asks, and how close you are. But I was like, if I said that, I was like, yeah, okay-ish, then they looked at me like I was like something was really wrong, like I was rude, and what the heck was going on? Because for them, it's you just say you're fine and things are fine, and you focus on more positive things. So I think some of it is definitely cultural, but I also seen other families, like in Hungary, just because you are Hungarian, you don't need to be all doom and gloom and always complain and be unhappy. Like that's kind of silly, right? So it was a long learning curve for me, and it's not over. And I still sometimes fall back into this, because I guess that's how I spent the first 2 decades of my life. But I have a choice, right? Of course I do have a choice. But if I see somebody constantly doing the same thing over and over and over again, and complaining and complaining and complaining, and obviously being extremely unhappy, is it my responsibility to say something, do something? Because I think I've been really trying, and I don't want to hurt their feelings. But that also means I don't really want to spend too much time with this person, and that gets difficult, because our time on this planet is limited. I would like to spend time with them and laugh and share joyful moments or adventures, or just, just exist in a peaceful, cheerful way. Why not? And then solve problems from a higher vibrational level. Isn't that much better? So, this is my morning note, and I really would like to know if you ever think about this, if you ever observe stuff like this, if you work on this yourself consciously or unconsciously. That's more difficult, I guess. But I would really like to know your thoughts, and we could have a conversation in the comments, because I think this is a really, really important subject, and it affects our lives, like our entire lives. So on that note, I will wish you a very good day or night, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye for now.